Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So today's video is going to be a bit of an introduction and a thank you. And in case you haven't noticed, I got this nice clean piece of aluminum up here. I was out of cardboard, so I reached over in my drop pile and grabbed this piece of aluminum where we made a bulkhead for something or another a few years back. Well, recently I was contacted by a viewer. His name's Jay. He was telling me about some of his projects. I was talking to him about some of my projects. And he mentioned that he liked one of the ideas I had, and I told him that unfortunately that build's probably 2 or 3 years away, given current workload and things that we already have, because I don't like to have too many stalled projects sitting. And like most guys in the business and most hobbyists or enthusiasts, I end up with a few more sitting than I want sitting, but I'm working on them. So he suggested maybe he could help me out with that. One of those things was I would like to do a Cannet valve small block. So he sent me this set of CHI 3V 225cc runner Australian Cleveland heads. For now, we're going to go this route on this one. So, excuse me while I get a little bit of drink. My throat's still messed up. So, this is not a sponsored video per se. This was just two enthusiasts working together, and all he asked in exchange for these heads was a thank you. So Jay, thank you so much. It's most appreciated. I can't tell you what a help this will be to the channel and to this project. So without further ado, I can't remember the specs off the top of my head, and I don't have the sheet in front of me right now. It's a 67cc chamber. They're polished from the factory. I haven't done anything to these heads except take them out of the box. They are very smoothly cast. They are cast in Australia by Cylinder Head Innovations. I think it's cool getting the Cleveland head from Australia because when the U.S. production of the Cleveland stopped, they continued to make them for quite some time in Australia. And those guys have continued to develop on them, just like the NASCAR guys have continued to develop on them here. And this head is kind of a cross between a lot of those bits of research. I wouldn't say it's exactly a 2-barrel, 4-barrel mix-up, but kind of, sort of. And the thing I find really neat is they already put a nice big round hole here so you can tap it. You don't have to drill an oblong hole or whatever for your crossover blockage to put them on the Windsor block. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them on a Windsor block and make a cleaver. And yes, I'm going to cheat a little bit and he included the little thermostat housing adapter here that you can either bolt to your water pump bolts, or I'm probably going to end up milling this off and making my own bracket and mounting it over to the side, because my electric water pumps that I run, I shouldn't say my electric water pumps, I run the Proforms and the Misers, that may be in the way. I haven't went out and mocked it up yet, but I think this is going to be in the way. If it go to the timing cover bolts, it'll be okay. If it goes to the water pump bolts, it's got to go to the timing cover bolts. So yeah, it'll be all right. I'll leave it like it is. I may pop these out and put threaded AN fittings in, but other than that, we'll use it as is. And then here's your bypass tube. So, I'm so far impressed. They seem to be very densely cast. They use standard Cleveland rocker hardware to use the standard Cleveland valve cover. So that all makes it work out pretty easy. I may be able to punch here from a water crossover. I just got to, once I decide what manifold I'm going to use, we may punch here. I got to make up my mind on that. But I can't wait to use these. I am going to have to redesign the engine a bit because I already actually have the block. I don't have the rotating assembly. And the next step was to get the heads so I'd know what pistons to get. So this all kind of worked out. I was going to run my typical flat top 2-valve relief piston, but with these 60cc chambers, I might have to go to a little bit of a dome. Got to do a little research on that. And I'm going to have to completely redesign my cam. So, from what I learned from other folks I've spoken with over the years that have done the cleaver conversion, the cam's the biggest thing because these just flow so much more air. I've heard these described as a Hemi head for a small block before, and for the leaps and bounds and power you get in airflow, it's sort of right, kind of right. And then the other thing I got to remember to do, where these bolts here come down into the intake runners, I got to make sure I clip my studs off short enough that I can get in here and epoxy the hole up. And I'll take some little still shots of some of the things I want to improve on this head, and we'll add them at the end of the video here. But this build may actually, for right now, take the place of FE build number 2. FE build number 2 is kind of on hold until, well, I hate to bring it up, until the world gets back to normal, because the client is heart set on one of those bare block aluminum blocks, and they're cast in South Korea, and right now they're out of them. I haven't contacted them in the last couple of weeks, but the last we checked, they were still on back order. So this may take the place of that build for right now. Okay, so I went in and checked the specs. You see how long my voice holds out here. It's a 219 intake and a 165 exhaust, and I think I'm going to leave them that size. And as you can see, it's a pretty smooth casting, but it got a little mold line in the middle like most heads have. I got to do something about that. And then at this angle, you can kind of see the hole in there where the light's reflecting off of the divot for the rocker stud bottom. Here's a better shot of that one with a little more angle on it. That's where I got to go in and putty that up. They really are a very nicely cast set of heads. I've already got the bronze guides in them. I haven't checked the size on them, but we'll machine those to fit the valves once I get them. And everything's got a nice smooth surface to it. The only place I see that I need to do any touch-up work is there's a little bit of lip on these around the intake gaskets. I really probably wouldn't be a problem, but that's one of those little detailed things that I like to do. This seems to help with gasket life and retention. There you go. Here's a good shot of down in there. And there's the hole showing up right there. Yeah, that's red paint. I painted a trailer a couple of days ago and made a mess of myself in the process. And then on the exhaust side, and they got CHI stamped right in the top, cast right in the top, I should say. And then here's the exhaust side. And you can see the mold line there really well. I'll go in there and slick that up. Might open them up a little bit. Haven't made up my mind yet. So as always, practice your skills, learn a new one. Either way, turn it into craftsmanship. You never know how far it'll take you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Fab Race Mod Repeat. Have a great day.